This last set of lessons is a bit of a special request from someone that asked me specific questions. And the question is, how do you build a strong character in your relationship without breaking eggs? And really how to handle a partner that is not on the same page as you are in terms of prioritizing family and coming together in terms of personal finances. So in regards to the character bit, I would say character is built on making the hard choices, following through with your promises, and remaining true to yourself through hard times. So in this case, it would be just being who you said you would be and sticking to your promises in the marriage, regardless of how the other person is acting. I think this kind of references something that I mentioned last week, but it still comes down to it. Like, human beings, it's easy for us to do tit for tat. Or if she's not doing this, then I'm not going to do that. If she's not submitting, then I'm not going to love. But nowhere in the Bible, nowhere has it been told to us that God is going to judge us based on how somebody else treated us. No, we're judged based on how we conduct ourselves, how we live our lives. So I would say in terms of building character, it's just being the person that God has made you to be, and asking Him to guide you through the process so that whoever it is that you're trying to be actually mimics who God wants you to be. And that's always going to be someone with good character. In terms of someone, your partner, not being on the same page in terms of what to prioritize, i.e. family, I would say lead by example. One thing I've learned when it comes to marriage is, and I'm really early in it to be honest, but it's that you've just always got to do your own part. That's just it. Like, you can't really control the other person. You can't really insist on them to be a certain way, even if you're the husband. The most you can do is have a sit down and say, look, I think, we're not on the same page. I would rather you do this. As the leader, this is what I'm telling you to do. But if the person insists on their own way, I don't know. I don't know what you do after that. Would you send them back home to their parents? I don't know. Is that what Christ would want you to do? I don't know. I try not to be very prescriptive when it comes to relationship advice because it's also very personal and unique. But I think it just comes down to setting good example, right? I think there's a part in the Bible, and I know this one speaks to wives, but I think it can also apply to husbands, about how you can turn your wives or your spouses to become Christians or become more Christ-like by you living out the example of who Christ is. So that would be my advice in terms of that. It's like just living it out, living the true example. And perhaps over time the person starts to see that, oh, you're really the real deal, you're really a good leader, you really actually care about the family. And perhaps they'll start to follow your example. And then at the end of the day, if none of that works out, you continue to pray and trust God that He's working all things out together for your good, not just your good personally, but for the good of the greater family. I believe it's God's desire for family to be restored to fullness, to mimic the relationship between Jesus and the church, meaning one of sacrificial love, of submission, of kindness, and just refinement. So if we allow Him take the lead, if we make sure that we're leaning on Him for instruction and leadership, He will take everything, anything, and He will turn it around for good. Thank you so much for joining my 35 lessons. I truly hope it has been really good for you. Thank you guys. Bye.